Hello, friends. How are you? It's raining outside, as you can hear. And I wanted to read something very interesting in the Bible. This is the book of James. This is the first time that I actually read the book of James. I may have read verses here and there, but I never actually spent time reading the book of James. Only has 5 chapters, 3 pages. I'm reading from the New Believer's Bible. Bible that I recommend for new believers, young Christians. So this is called Listening and Doing, James 1:19. Listening and Doing. Shout outs to Young Irwin, Logos Media, formerly Gnostic Media. You can look him up on YouTube. Great guy. My dear brothers and sisters, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. You hear that? My dear brothers and sisters, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Your anger can never make things right in God's sight. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the message God has planted in your hearts, for it is strong enough to save your souls. So right here he's telling you to, what you hear in self-development, uh, you know, courses and videos, be a listener, listen. Be quick to listen. Be slow to speak. Don't just say what's in your mind all the time. Actually think before you speak. Be quick to listen and think before you speak, and don't have a bad temper. Don't get snappy at people quickly. Think before you act, basically, because your anger can never make things right in God's sight. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives. Your addictions and other things that you're into that is ungodly. And humbly accept the message God has planted in your hearts, for it is strong enough to save your souls. And remember, it is a message to obey, not just to listen to. If you don't obey, you are only fooling yourself. For if you just listen and don't obey, it is like looking at your face in a mirror but doing nothing to improve your appearance. See, this is very telling. Let me read it again. If you just listen and you don't obey, it's like looking at your face in a mirror but doing nothing to improve your appearance. So you see your flaws, but you're doing nothing about it. If you see yourself, walk away and forget what you look like. You see yourself, walk away and forget what you look like, basically. But if you keep looking steadily into God's perfect law, the law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. If you claim to be religious, but don't control your tongue, you're just fooling yourself, and your religion is worthless. You see a lot of people out here on YouTube that call themselves pastors and biblical scholars and all that, but in their videos, they're very, they can't really control their tongue, they're arrogant, they're snappy, they call people names. People like that are just, what it says here, you're fooling yourself and you're fooling the people that listen to you and believe in you, in what you're saying, and hang on to your words, and your religion is worthless. So what they're doing is worthless. Pure and lasting religion in the sight of God, our Father. Again, pure and lasting religion in the sight of God, our Father. He's talking about God the Father. He's not talking about a triunal God. God is 3 people. God is Jesus. God is the Father. And God is the Holy Spirit. All 3 of them are one. Jesus is his own Father, and his Father is also Jesus' Son. None of that heretical complication that we're used to. This triunal God, this 3-headed God, this committee that this committee of 3 beings that together make up God. It's not what it's saying. It's saying God the Father. Because if you read the Bible, God the Father alone is the subject of our worship and praise, but Jesus is the way to the Father. So the way you worship the Father is through Jesus. He's like the high priest that carries our worship to the Father. So you still worship the Father, but you do it through Jesus. And the Holy Spirit is what you receive when you're worshiping our God, the Father, through Jesus. In the sight of God our Father means that we must care for orphans and widows in their troubles and refuse to let the world corrupt us. So true religion in the sight of God our Father means that we take care of those people who have a hard time taking care of themselves, vulnerable people, orphans and widows. And we also don't let the world corrupt us through all these things that, overfeed our dopamine and, lead us to addictive behaviors and selfish behaviors and careless attitudes, arrogant motives, selfish motives. The dopamine having power over your life is how the world corrupts you. So you control yourself, and he gave you some examples. Being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to get angry, getting rid of all the filth and evil in your lives, obeying the message, not just listening to it and knowing it, controlling your tongue. All these things help you to become being better able to control yourself, control your lives, control your attitude, control your reaction to things. And by doing that, you have a better control over your dopamine intake, and you'll be less weak as far as falling for the distractions and the temptations of the world. The better you are at that, the more in tune you are in following the true religion in the sight of God. So in other words, true Christianity in the sight of God, our Father, is we taking care of those people that are vulnerable, and we refuse to let the world corrupt us. So I hope that was gratifying to you. I hope that you got some fulfillment out of it, that you learned something or that you remembered something that you weren't thinking about. So this is James 1:19, okay? Listening and doing. Thank you very much.